So we will continue from where we stopped. But I've got a few questions here. Some are generic questions, while some have specifics as well. Thank you. Some of the questions I will answer in the course of my next few slides. So if I don't call your question, don't worry, we will answer it. And some might require a one-to-one conversation too. I've got a peculiar question here. It says, how can one succeed in this country? And this person said they have tried several times and failed. The business environment is very hard. The economy is also very challenging. A lot of family expenses. There's a lot of debt hanging on them. How can one escape this scenario as an entrepreneur? In this same country, people are doing well and meeting their needs. And despite the challenges, I want to believe that there are two answers to this situation. Number one, we live within our means. So when I hear family expenses, if it is not my immediate family, my children and my wife, the others are irrelevant when I'm building my business. My responsibility is to my immediate family. And this is no disrespect to those others who might have dependencies and so on. As long as they're not direct dependency, the first thing is I cut my coat according to my affordability. And this, of course, business is tough in Nigeria. And I shared an example of those young undergraduates that have business idea. Unfortunately, I've not been able to give birth to it because of the environment. There are some things that we don't depend on governments. There are some things that we have to do regardless of the environment. And I said earlier, move if you have to move. And this individual, what it would be nice to know is how much lessons are you learning from the failures? Because it's not a bad thing to fail. It's how much have you learned from those failures? And how are you moving forward in the failed state as well? And again, it also depends on the kind of business the person is doing. Are you doing a business that you have absolute control and you've got a leverage that people will come to you for rather than you chasing after customers? If you're still in competition that you don't have any leverage, then it will continue to be a struggle. If you depend on government, it will also not be easy as well. So quite a number of things. The first thing is expenses must go down according to what you can afford. And of course, do the business that will bring people to you because you've created a solution that will attract them. Thank you. You gave an example of your business almost collapsing at some points because you chose the wrong leader. In that kind of instance, can one create offices to make each person relevant, or is that against the ethic of business running a business? The university used to have just one VC and deputy VCs, but now they have deputy VC research, deputy VC academic, deputy VC administrator, which is absolutely right. I was looking for a leader at the top where almost sometimes impossible to have two people take that responsibility. But I have seen companies now where you have multiple MDs as well. Some will have MD and another person will be CEO. So yes, it is possible to have done that. And like I said, my lessons learned from that experience was very simple. No passion about relationship in business. Rather, it's about the passion for who can do it. If you can do it, then you get a job. So that's my lessons learned. But of course, if the business is big enough to accommodate that level of hierarchy, why not? you should be able to do that, of course. Is it business-wise to show or teach someone the rudiments of your business? Someone who wants to start selling close to you, or who will compete with you? Remember, I talked about ideas. And when you birth an idea, I also talk about thinking of what you will do to grow that idea in the short to medium-term future. So yes, there's nothing wrong in sharing with somebody what you're doing so that they can do better, or so that they can do likewise. But you know that you're a couple of steps ahead of them, because whilst they are learning, you are moving forward. And there are so many airlines in this world today, many of them in the same country, even in Nigeria, Arik, Air Peace, and so on, flying the same routes. There are enough customers, I believe, that can patronize you. What you need to do again is make sure that you create a a solution that unifies you, that makes you unique in that space. And your competitor, even if they are friends of yours that you have thought will do their own thing and chart their own path as well. Actually, I have a testimony. I've got a friend in England that it was one of my proteges at the point, and he was doing a completely different kind of business. But he wanted to get into IT and stop talking to me because he felt that I will feel somehow about it. And then he then wanted to design a website and gave that contract to somebody who also was my protege. And that one came to me and asked me questions about how to host and how to do things. Then I inquired, out of curiosity, who is this website for? I said, now it's so person. I said, really? So I looked at the content and I was wondering, that's not his business. Maybe he's doing it for somebody else. I said, no, there's a new line of business for him. So I called my friend and told him, you're in my industry. Let's meet and I will share with you everything that I know that you need to know. Of course, I was surprised and happy that I will lend that offer to help him. And we had a good conversation. We have continued to talk over the years. He's done exceptionally well and in different industries. One day, I left the UK, came to Nigeria, he's still doing his business. If I denied him that privilege, one person less doing well in that industry today. So nothing wrong in sharing your idea. You mentioned that we're peculiar. Are we in Africa, Nigeria in particular, utilizing the peculiarity as regards our activities in all spheres of life to be competing globally? What are the ingredients that we need as an individual to compete globally in all our disciplines, right from childhood in terms of quality? Does mastermind relate? I can't see that. Does mastermind something success in growing a business? Okay, but I understand the question. The question is basically just talking about we're peculiar people. How can we take advantage of our peculiarity in God, in Africa, Nigeria in particular, especially across the world? Brethren, we're Christians. So it doesn't matter where you are, Nigeria, UK, America. Have you heard about the American dream? Why do people have American dream and not United Kingdom dream? Why not Mexican dream? Why not Nigerian dream? So you can create your own dream in anywhere, any environment that you are at, and make yourself a unique person that will be easily adopted. Unfortunately, Nigeria, in quotes, we have our global adoption challenge because of the quality of our outputs. But if you can ensure that you are able to create that quality, I can assure you there are people out there that are looking for you. Definitely. I know companies in Nigeria today that are delivering services to UK organizations from Nigeria. How did India do it? With their technology environment. They're the biggest hub globally today for IT support, programming, whatever it is that you want to do. You find them in India. We can do likewise here. And it starts small. You don't expect it to become big before you jump into it. Let's create it ourselves, and let's use our peculiarity as Christians to create what it takes to become that unique individual or organization. What can I do? I often do my best at writing quotations and completed by project managers. At other times, services are required, tried my best, but at point of execution, clients develop cold feet. Please, where do I go from here? Well, these are the kind of questions that we need to understand. What are the peculiarities of your challenges? Not every proposal we write that we win, but we're very confident in our proposal, and we always hope to win. And we have a measurement around it. If we write X number, we must win Y number. Otherwise, we look back and reevaluate what are we doing wrong. Maybe there are some things you are not actually taking into consideration, and this might be a one-to-one discussion. How can one start a business without money? I think I said that earlier, right? Not that you don't need money at all. Oh. You do need money, but money is not the reason why you don't start a business. That's what I said. Money should not be the reason why you will not have an idea. Money should not be the reason why you will not start the execution of your idea. Money should not be the reason why you should not plan your idea. But when push comes to shove, there will be need for you to bring and do certain things. But you can reduce the amount of money in different ways. You can leverage. There are bank facilities. There are different opportunities. There are different things. I mean, later in my next set of slides, I'll talk about government support. How can you leverage what the government support are? Money markets. You know, there are so many things that you can leverage that will not necessarily be your money, or access to certain funds to help you achieve your business goal. So you do need money, but you can leverage that money in different ways. What should you do if you don't intend for your business to be larger than a sole proprietor? Is it okay to not want your business to be very large or become conglomerate? Of course. In fact, America boasts of what they call the mom and pop. It's always a family business, and many of them grow it for several generations. Mom and pop. So the father and the mother will be the one that own the business, and they transfer it to another child of theirs who brings his own partner into it. They grow it or they extend it and have multiple of it. Just mom and pop. Nothing big, but enough to feed them, enough to meet their expenses, and they're living well. And you have a lot of that in farming. Many farmers will transfer that farmland to families for many generations. So you don't have to grow beyond your capacity. It is not everybody that will have a conglomerate. It's not everybody that will run business across the globe. Thank you, sir. So this is a very good question. If you are comfortable with what you have, you do it appropriately like that. Can a business be started by loan? Yes. It's called leverage. I talked about leverage earlier. Leverage. So long as you know that you're planning, we talked about business planning yesterday. I'll do a little bit of business planning later on. We talked about planning. As long as in your cash flow projection, you know that you can afford to pay back your debt, why not? Leverage. Leverage the money. Can a mini supermarket be located at home? If I have a story, I have a friend, came from England, rented an apartment somewhere very far in a high density area, something like in Lagos. In fact, when I went to visit him, I was surprised, shocked, say the least, that's where he was situate, where he wanted to live and run his store. He told me he wanted to come to Nigeria to run his store. But the second time I went there to visit me, he hardly had time for me. He had converted the living room into a store. And one of the rooms was his office, the other room was his warehouse, and one room was his bedroom. So he rented a flat in a busy road, and his living room, big enough, it put a lot of partition there and started trading. And this guy, I went there to see, like I said, I went there to see him while the business had started. He hardly had time for me. There were people coming in and going out. in the till, talking to customers, of course, friendly, talking to them, hello, so and so. And he told me what he did. He realized that there are other small stores, similar to what I said I had experienced yesterday, looking for where to buy everything. But none of them had the peculiar things that they will go out to the main Ikeja, the main big stores to buy, like baby napkins, Pampers, all of those things. He kitted himself with all of those, and people felt comfortable to come to his shop and buy those things there. They did not have to run to go too far away. In the UK, we call them corner shop. When the big stores, the Tesco's and the Sainsbury's, realized that the corner stores were doing well, they started doing what they call the Sainsbury's local, small stores, Tesco Express, small store, where they had everything that you can go to their big supermarket for in their local stores. So why not? You start it from anywhere, your home, outside your house, as long as you are intentional and you know what you're doing, and of course, make sure that the planning approval is taken to allow you to do that. How can I stock my business by myself? You know what you want to sell. So you buy what you can sell, what you will sell in that environment. Sometimes you don't get it right the first time, but you learn as you go by. That's what I talked about data last night. You use the data from the proceed from the selling to determine what you can stock and how you stock them. Over time, you will know what is moving fast and what is slow, what is of low margin, based on quantity or quality, what is of high margin, and then you use them, you stock them appropriately. You can't definitely stock yourself. You don't need somebody to help you when you're starting a small business. I have an idea to start air cream and shea butter in one of the materials for the production of the air cream. Please, where can I get shea butter in large quantity? Okay, so without being personal, well, this person can see me because I have an investment in a shea butter factory where we convert shea to shea butter. But, I mean, actually, we can talk about this because now our output is going to the industry, and it really depends on the quantity we're talking about. But there are a lot of suppliers for shea butter. When I got involved in that business, I researched it, and I found so many suppliers, a lot of them around that, Bomosho, all the way Kaba, and so quite a number of them there that will sell you shea butter in whatever quantity that you want, and it would be nice to talk to them there as well. So there you go. I have some ideas and hope, and I've practiced them, and they work out very well, but no money to carry them out. So how and what can I do to be able to finance that project? Write a business plan, write a cash flow, present it to the right people. We'll talk about business support later on, and I'm sure if it's good enough, you will find some form of support. Again, well, I can say this here at this point, I'm going to talk about that. Be friendly with your bank managers. Be friendly with people who work in finance. Sometimes they have opportunities they only discuss with their people, with people that they know. Be friendly with them, talk to them, let them know your problem or your challenge or your need, and who knows, you might just be talking to the right person, or he might know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody that can help you out. Please give more clarification concerning which of the money to invest, explain revenue, and to pay yourself. Okay, I'll do that now, actually, something that we missed earlier. You taught us that if we see anybody earning from the business, he or she is doing, okay. So you taught us that if we see anybody earning from the business, he or she is doing, and we to venture into it, that is not an idea. What if it is? God who speaks to us can venture us into. Yeah, of course. Okay, I understand this now. Sorry, the punctuation was not very good for me. Yeah, this person is saying if they see somebody doing something, I had said that it's not an idea if you are doing what they are doing, replicating what they are doing, and the person is challenging that. Of course, you have a right to believe that it's an idea from God. If it is an idea from God for you, then do it. But what I'm saying is create a differentiator. Don't just replicate. and do what they're doing and sit down and hope to be better than them. No. Create a differentiator. Build on it. Let the idea grow. If God has given you an idea, believe me, it is supposed to help you in your life to meet all your life expectancies and your lifestyle. Buying from manufacturers and selling computers. I need help on how I can grow my business. I'm 6 years. I need advice on how to have succession plan. My boy studied economics at BSc level. Plan to transfer to IT abroad. Where would you recommend? Okay, so that last question is not my call for today. Where will I recommend for you to go, UK or Canada? Let God direct you. But we can do this. And you're interested in one of my neighbors something yesterday at your farms. I don't know if you know it was they had their distributor event last month in January. And sent me an extract of it. Thank you, sir. He sent me the extract of it, showing how they started their business 17 years ago, and how some of their distributors have helped them to grow that business. And there are quite a number of very interesting things. So if you're in distribution and you want to grow, then it's time to start looking at who is in distribution that you can leverage. Who can you talk to that can help you to grow your business? I'm happy to facilitate introduction to such people who are currently working with distributors and helping them to grow, to mentor you in that area. Okay? Got 3 new ones. Can idea or vision be updated? Of course. Your idea can be updated. You can't be one idea for the rest of your life. The way the disciples were trained and to do in their time is not the way we are living our Christianity today. So ideas will change. Ideas will improve with time. When I started software, we were doing what they call DOS. It was a black screen, white lettering, or the other way around. For those who even started before us, they were doing green screen on AS400, which is the mainframe. So today, everyone's got a phone that has everything. So ideas will definitely change. You have to move with time. Okay? I have an idea of producing things, but I do not know where and how to start. Well, keep thinking, keep praying, and ask questions. Talk to somebody. Let them build. You remember I talked about innovators and inventors. Maybe you're an inventor. Look for somebody that will help you innovate it and give birth to that idea. What are the factors or features to look out for in finding a mentor? Somebody who has excelled in that business area, in that particular line of business. I just talked about, happy to facilitate introduction for somebody just now. Look for somebody who's done it well, who's been successful there. Go and talk to that person. And you don't even need them to be your permanent mentor. Maybe just one question or 2 clarification that you need, and will open your mind into other things. They don't need to be your friend. They don't need to be your permanent friend. Not everybody's got the time to mentor people. Not everybody's got even the gifts to mentor, but because they might just have something that will open your mind and ignite that idea into reality for you. So look for people who have excelled there and ask them questions. Okay, how do services with 30-40 rule as a business owner in an environment that is not willing to pay as much for services? Well, if you don't have a rule, and ignore my 30-40-30 rule, if you don't have a rule for profitability based on your cash flow, you won't be in business. So it doesn't matter whether they can pay it or not. It is what it is, and therefore you find those who can afford it and pay it. I told the testimony yesterday about my former boss when I left full-time employment that gave me a list of companies they would not work for because they were too big to work for those companies. And yet I got one of them that transformed my entire business. So we have different levels. It's either you lower your profitability expectation, you lower your costs, you lower something, you lower your operations, and just make sure you have a rule. My 30-40-30 will not be your 30, 40, 30, will not be somebody else's 30, 40, 30. It could be the same percentage, but different value. So if I'm making a naira profit, you might be making 2 naira profits. It must still be your 30%. Somebody else will be making 2,000 naira profit. It must be their 30% as well. So just have a rule that ensures that you are sustainable and you can follow through in your business. Whatever that rule, even if it's 10% profit or 100% profit, whatever it is, have a rule, follow through with that rule. Whatever value it turns out to in money is what it is. But don't think that because they can't afford it, I will lower my own expectation at the expense of my business. Sometimes business is hard, and we need to be hard as well. Hard on ourselves and hard on some of the decisions that we take, because it is in our interest to remain sustainable in the interest of our stakeholders. Your stakeholder is number one is yourself, your family, your staff, and everybody around you, including, if you're in business, especially those of us who do service business, if I'm in business and I've created something for a customer and I crash, they're in trouble. My customer is in trouble because no one supports them. They have to start all over again. So they're also stakeholders. I had a business opportunity with a company a few years ago, and they were bargaining. So I said to them, look, we can't take this business at this level. That I'm sure it is not in your interest that we're not here in the next year or two. That if we lower our expectation in terms of how much we charge per head, we might not be sustainable, growing, a business that will continue in the next couple of years. And if I'm not here, would you be happy? Or would you rather be happy that I'm here, continue to support you? And the CFO said, I've never heard anybody, supplier, that will talk to us like this before. That she has never heard it, that will talk to them like that. And of course, we got the opportunity, we delivered the service, and we are still friends today. So, your business is your business. It is not their business. It is your business to service them and to remain a going concern, as well as profitable enough to be able to grow and sustain yourself. Things are hard in Nigeria today. What we used to buy for 100 naira is probably now selling for 150 naira. So businesses are increasing their costs. Therefore, when you buy and you want to sell, you increase your selling price as well, including your time. I sell time, I sell my skill, I sell my capability. So my time is valued at something. If my time was valued at 1 naira yesterday, but I cannot spend 1 naira in 1 day anymore, then I have to increase my 1 naira to whatever it will be for me to be able to live today. Okay, so we're going to continue talking about growing business. Can we see that screen? Oh, wow. Okay, it's very small, right? I'll read it. So it says setting the direction. Hold on. Even me, I'm struggling there. So the Bible says in the book of Proverbs that wisdom dwells with prudence. Yeah? Wisdom dwells with prudence. Proverbs chapter 8, verse 12. And find out knowledge of witty invention. Wisdom dwells with prudence. So you got wisdom, but you've got to do it with certain capability. You've got to do things, and you know, it's not everything that you know that you talk about every time to everybody. Some people you give them some other you give them others, and so on. Whatever you have, whatever it is that you have, you use it to create more inside of you in order for you to be accepted by the people around you. Yeah? This guy on the right, can you guys recognize him? He's one of our Nollywood artists. He said, my strength did not come from lifting weights. My strength came from lifting myself up every time I was knocked down. So when you are in trouble is not when you remain down. The strength that you need is to get up and go again. And that's part of the question that's here. How can you continue? How can you help yourself when you're continuing to fail? Pick yourself up, be strong in whatever it is, and find a solution to that problem. Okay, if you look on the left, the screen is slow. If you were not at my age or even 10 years younger, you probably not know some of the things that I'm showing on the screen. How many people know about that big telephone, that big bulky telephone, 090? Okay, so you must be in that age bracket. How many people have TV in their houses that had, what's it called, dolls? So you, Grundig. Fantastic. How many people have calculator in their, calculator now that you carry around? Calculator. Okay, you still carry calculator. How many people know about Walkman? Walkman. Cassettes. Do you know cassettes? Cassettes. Fax machine. Yeah? Who knows fax machine? Okay, I can see some hands are now coming down, they're not coming up again. Okay, what about the, how do I describe it? Because we see camcorder, you know those wonderful big cameras that we carry on with stem like this that we carry around. I can only shoot a certain distance and lighting. But do you know that today, all of these things that you can see on the screen, the telephone, that big bulky telephone, the calculator, the fax machine, radio, Walkman, cassette player, and all of that are in this device today. That's somebody's idea. And they started consolidating it. I cannot remember the last time that I sent a fax to anybody. It must have been over, in fact, maybe 20 years ago. Fax. Now we send email, they are instant. We all use WhatsApp. Who doesn't have WhatsApp here? My mom is 84, my dad is 90 this year. They use WhatsApp. My mom, when she started using WhatsApp, she was excited. She would call us every day, video call. Oh, sorry. Video call. And, very excited. And at that age, she learned how to use a mobile phone to do what she couldn't do prior to then. She would call her grandchildren one by one. Call this one in the morning, that one hour later, and spend time, video call, know where they all are, how are you doing, blah, 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 blah. The first time I sent a mail to my dad, and this was a few years ago, I told him, he was in his 70s then, Dad, instead of calling you, which is expensive for me, I can send you a mail. So I got him somebody to help him create a mail account. Thanks to Nigerian, they charged him to create a mail account. Can you imagine? But it was okay. So one day I told him I sent him a mail. He was there at the cafe and he saw my email, he read it, got somebody to help him type a reply. As soon as I got the reply, I replied immediately. And he saw the reply, he said, he said, there's something inside this thing. Eventually he realized, hey, why do we have to call each other and spend money when we can exchange emails? And so occasionally he will go to the cafe, spend 1 hour there, send me a mail, send my brother a mail, and we will reply. Even if we don't reply immediately because we're in front of our desk, eventually we will come back again, see our reply, and we communicated until mobile phones came to be in Nigeria in 2002. So, transition. Your business must transition into something new. So that person that asked if ideas can change, that is your answer. You don't stop at what you are today. You keep moving forward in your business. If your business was making a naira, why can't it make 2 naira? If your business was doing whatever it was doing, why can't you do it better? So always make sure that you are current when you are in business. And being current means that you are continuing to innovate your idea. So you've invented the idea, you are the inventor, but you continue to innovate it. And the innovation will help you to change the dynamics of your business. So there are a lot of business opportunities around, and there are several grants, business grants. There's an organization called SMED, Small Medium Enterprise something development of Nigeria. And they have helped a lot of small businesses. They will help you package your business. They provide a lot of training. They have access to certain funds. They are now doing something very interesting. They're working with politicians in their various constituencies to help them create business fund. So you know our politicians have money, all our House of Rep members, the senators, they all have fund for different things. So SMEDIAN will go to the senators, for example, in a particular district and say, okay, let's create fund from this money that you have been allocated for businesses. And SMEDIAN will manage it and help companies, small businesses, to invest in them and grow their businesses. So you guys must look for SMEDIAN in Ibadan. There's different tax benefits that you can also enjoy, either as a small business or a startup or an innovative business, something that is unique, something that the government can relate with. And you should take advantage of all of those as well. Yeah. Many companies fail to market their business, and of course, the business will naturally fail to thrive. You know, marketing is not until you advertise on TV, radio, billboard, and everything alone. Even that guy that's selling shirts in the market and say, oh, Kiniko, you know, waving it and mentioning the price, will resonate with somebody who had an intention to go and buy something tomorrow and is just passing that market and maybe I should just buy this shirt now. You know, the hawker that passes your street and saying, Kiniko, wow, so and so, is marketing and voicing it out loud. That guy that shakes the metal and racketing it is telling you, I'm around. If you have any metal you want me to collect from your house. So market yourself. Don't limit it to the fact that you cannot pay for paid advertisements. Yeah? You cannot be an island in your industry. Speak to some other similar businesses. Leverage. You cannot be an island. You cannot know it all. You cannot be the only one. Leverage. Talk to others. How are they doing it? And I think Nigeria has a very interesting thing. A lot of businesses have cluster associations. So you find association of hoteliers, association of caterers. You have lorry driver associations, organizer associations, and so on. So talk, explore those opportunities and find out what you can benefit from them as well. Do not repeat what others are doing without developing on it. Yeah? There's nothing wrong in looking at what they are doing, but you get benefit, get a lot of better benefit when you develop on it. Try as much as you can to read journals, business magazines, things that will educate you about your industry and your business as well. Helps you to keep up to date. All right, so that's a bit small. So I want to talk about business headers, business planning. So now I need my board. So I talked about business plan earlier, where it is important that you write a business plan for your business. And like I said, it doesn't have to be serious business plan for that is like 100 pages or whatever. It could be 1 page. What are important part of the business plan I'm going to share with you now. So in a business plan, you discuss your opportunity. What are you looking at? opportunity, and your opportunities are things that you've seen and you can leverage, you can work with, you can deliver on, you can, what that business is all about. So what is the problem you're trying to solve? What is the job to be done? Where is the gap that you're filling? That's your opportunity. And if you can define that, even if it's one sentence, that's it. Your business plan is on its way. Then you talk about how do we now execute that opportunity? So how are you going to execute that opportunity? So I want to do this. What are you going to do to make that thing done? Yeah? I want to do this. So when in execution, you have things like how are you going to, what are your operations? Do you need staff? Do you need office? Etc. And then you talk about your marketing. If you're going to have to market your product, how am I going to advertise this product? How are people going to know that I'm even here at all? How am I going to make sure that people see me and know what they can work with me? And then also, you might want to talk about the business itself. What is the composition of the business? Am I going to set up a limited company? Am I going to be a sole trader? Am I going to work in partnership? Am I going to need a team of people to work with me? Can I do it alone? Can I start alone and grow it into something else in the future? What do I need to do to make sure that business is also a good thing, concern? And then number 4 is financial. 1, how do I start up? What money do I need? What money am I going to make? So here is where you will do your forecast. And you do your budgeting and everything. Once you can have that, then your business plan is ready in a very simple format. Now, of course, when you're looking to raise money with that plan, you must expand on all of this. And there are so many intricacies around it that we can talk about in different levels, depending on what you business plan for. But for the purpose of even documenting what is on your mind, these are the basic things that you must have in your plan. Basic things that you must have in your plan. If you don't know the opportunity, then what are you doing? If you don't know how to execute, then what are you doing? If you don't know what kind of business are you going to run, you might have all of these, but on what basis? If you don't have financial, you must start well, but it might end up not being well because you don't know whether you are making money truly. And that's very, very important. So when we talk about financials, where we have our forecast, also called the cash flow, you must write a cash flow at the very minimum for a period beyond 1 month. Ideally, it's recommended that you have a 12-month cash flow or more. But let's even say we're not even so sure about the long-term future. At least have a cash flow that talks you through what cash you need, what cash you're going to invest, how much money you're going to make for at least a month or 2, maybe 3 months. Yeah? Because it's your cash flow that helps you to know whether you're going to be sustainable at the very early stage. You know, there are rules that says if a business survives 1 year, then it's okay. If it survives up to 2 years and more, between 2 and 5 years, then there's stability. If it now survives after 5 years, then there's growth. So where are you in that journey? Are you writing a new business plan? Make sure that you can be a going concern wherever you're at. Are you writing a business plan on an existing business? A going concern wherever you are at. Growth, sustainable, or just good enough. So I just have an example of cash flow there, which covers your operating cash flow, your net earnings, meaning how much are you earning after you've paid your costs. Some people will recognize their total revenue and identifying the cost of sales. What money are you investing? How much are you spending? And all of those other costs that's going into your business. So, but that will be too much for today. So what I want to quickly talk about is, before I go into my next phase, is how do you recognize profitability, something we did earlier in the morning. So, good example, let's assume we have a product, whatever that product is, and costs to us is 5,000 naira. That's cost, that's how much we buy that product for, whether it's 1 unit or 10 units. So let's assume we are going to buy 100 of these. It means 500,000 naira investment. Yeah? Just allow me to use these figures. So each one costs 5,000 naira, and we're buying 100 of it, costs 500,000 naira. That's our cost of the products. Now, to buy this, maybe we have an office, and in that office we're paying, 1 million, let's say we're paying 200,000 naira every year. Per annum. That's our office. Electricity, bills, other kind of bills to run the office. Let's assume that cost us 50,000 naira per annum. I'm just making an assumption. I don't have to be right or wrong. So this is what our cost of material, this is our office cost, and in that office I now have staff. Let's assume we pay our staff 50,000 naira per month, and there are 2 of them. So that's 100,000 naira per month times 12 months is 1.2 million naira, right? Remember earlier I said if I sell my product for 2.5% profit or margin, I have not made a profit. Now just imagine in this scenario, if I can break this down into my monthly expenses. So this is my annual now. My annual is saying 1.2 times 200, that's 1.4 times 50 per annum. My OPEX, operating expenses, is about 1.45 million naira, right? Every year, I must have 1.45 million naira in my bank account to offset my operating expenses. And me, as the owner of the business, I have a salary expectation. Maybe I want to pay myself, at least every year, I want to earn about 6 million naira, director earning. Yeah, so my total outgoing is 16,450,000 naira every year. 16,450,000 naira every year. So I'm just going to quickly divide that by 12. 1.37. So every month, I must have 1,370 in my bank account to be able to even remain a sustainable business. I'm paying all my dues, I'm not making any profit. So let's now turn it around. How much, therefore, do I have to sell this for, and how many do I need to sell in order to meet these expenses? That's where you begin your profitability calculation. You don't start by saying, I am buying it for 5,000 naira so I can sell it for 6,000 naira. You must look at your total costs. And this is not even exhaustive. I'm just doing a very quick high-level summaries here. And people not know, 6 million naira per annum is 500,000 naira. Some people don't need to earn that much. Maybe they just need to earn 100,000 naira every month, or even 50,000 naira every month. Whatever it is, you must take this total monthly or annual expenditure into consideration before you determine your selling price of that product. And this means if you cannot sell at that level of margin, then that is not a good product for you. So there are two ways to look at it. Is it a good product, in which case I can make this margin and make a profit? If I can't sell at that product, because some prices are fixed. If you are buying Coca-Cola, you can't sell it more than 100 naira or whatever it costs. If you are buying toilet roll, you probably sell it 200 naira. So whatever you buy it for. So prices are fixed. If you cannot make that margin pay for this, then that's not your product. If you want to, you know that this can be accommodated here, and you can make that margin, then you start building that business around that product. Do you get the logic? Is it clear? Fantastic. Thank you very much. So that's how you determine your selling price. You know, I looked at this. This is my product. This is what I'm buying for. I didn't go and say, okay, so how much am I going to sell it for, and then distribute it into this? No. That's reverse engineering. You actually determine what your true operating expenses are, and then deduce what your profitability should be. Then you know whether it is your product and it is the product to run with or not. And sometimes you might need to have multiple products, of course. It doesn't have to be one. It could be multiple products. And in some instances, we have what we call a loss lead. So there are products that you know will make you money, but you start selling small. You lower your selling price at the takeoff and then grow it over time. That's when you now have to drop a monthly or periodic cash flow that you look at the products and your margin, and then it grows like this. And maybe this is your level of expectation, but you're starting small. You grow it. Once you get to that level, then you can either plateau or even increase it if you can. Or at that point, when you get to that level, it's when you either diversify, you increase, you extend, you include new ideas so that you can continue growing. And any business that does not do this, is not a going concern. It will crash one day. And that business will continue to be in perpetual debt, unable to meet its expenses, and be running from its suppliers. And you don't want to be in that kind of business. All right? This is very, very important to learn and to note. All right. Oh, sorry. So there are several phases of business growth. So now we're talking about growing businesses, right? There are several phases of business growth. You have the market creating phase, where you're just testing the waters. You're testing the product in the market. You're looking at ways to introduce this product into the market and see, how can I sell it? How much can I sell it? How can I market it? Who is going to buy it? And you start gathering data at that stage. Is it the right location? Am I partnering with the right people? At that stage, you are gathering data, you are testing waters. In most instances, some people will be selling even lower than their expectation because they're testing the markets. So there's what we call the market creating stage. The next level is a sustaining phase where you now know that, yes, this product is good. I'm now at this stage. I am able to sustain that level of sale price for this product that I'm selling or these services that I am offering. That's the sustaining stage. So you move from your initial market creating to your sustaining level, and then you get into what we call the efficiency level, where you are able to take it to the next curve. So you move up the ladder again. At that stage, you're making enough profits to either increase the quantity that you are selling or go and even open another shop somewhere else or find a new market in another environment or on another product. Most businesses just want to start overnight and get here or even get there. You do that with products that have already been tested in the market. So you know that Coca-Cola is a tested market, or cold water, or whatever it is. So you know the price, you know how much it costs, and you know that the margin that you can make there will definitely cover this. Then you jump from, you do not need to do the market testing phase. You just jump into the sustaining phase immediately. And it now becomes your responsibility to now improve on that idea so that you can get into bigger income. Yeah, in what we call the efficiency phase. Accessing and assessing your support. So manage your business through healthy cash flow. I talked about making sure you have excess cash. Always endeavor to do that, or have access to fund, however it is. Seek flexibility when discussing your finance or any form of support that you are getting. So for example, you might want to take a loan on a business and you've seen your cash flow can pay off that loan in 12 months. Then take a 15 to 16 or even a 2-year loan. And if you're able to pay it off, then pay it off in your 12th month or whenever you have to pay it off. Because what you don't want is something happening along this journey in time that will not allow you to meet that obligation. The last thing lenders want is a failed obligation. You become a bad customer. And those bad customers are the reason why they will not give to other people as well. Yeah? There are several government services that are looking for ways to engage business. Well, I say this and I hope that we can leverage. Yes, there are government opportunities in Nigeria, but you have to find it. They're not easily available. There was a time that CBN started a company called, for the farmers, I forgot the name now. I forgot the name, but they had so much money that they were giving farmers guaranteed loans. So even if they fail in their farming business, government will guarantee that loan. And many of them bought tractors, irrigation equipment, and so many things to mechanize their farmland. Obasanjo did it many years ago with Operation Feed the Nation, but CBN did it, I think, about 3 or 4 years ago too. And that money is still in circulation because people are now paying back, but it's just that it's not as aggressive as when they started again. So there are government schemes that you can leverage, but you got to find it. It's not easily identified, or they're not advertising it well enough. You find it, they are there. Demonstrate your ability to repay. So again, when you draw up your cash flow, show your cash flow that you can actually pay back your loan. Do not take a loan because they are offering it to you. Take a loan because you need it. Yeah, money is very good, you know. We always have something to do with money. It's not buying a new car. It's buying a new house. It's buying a new perishable item. It's repainting our house. It's buying that new furniture. There's always a need for money. Let's not deceive ourselves. Doesn't matter how much you have, you want more. And more will mean you do more. You know, our life changes based on our income or cash at hand. If you used to have disposable income of 100,000 naira every month, you will live within that means. The moment you get a job that gives you 200,000 naira, that area becomes irritating. You move on. When you start earning 500,000 naira a month, then of course you move to a different location. I don't know about it very well. I couldn't give you examples. You know, I know about Bodija, Uluyole, and Co. So money will always have a reason to be spent. So do not take a loan because it's been offered to you. Take a loan because you actually need it and you can use it. And there are certain loans that you must take. You must leverage for your business, not for your personal need. In Nigeria today, the average loan is about 20-something%. When government does a government scheme, they're usually in single digits and helps you with long-term investments. If you ever have any idea that is long-term, take those loans. Use them quickly and turn them around. Most banks will give you loans for a month, a couple of months, 3 months, because all our banks in Nigeria, all they know are purely trading business. You buy, sell, they tell you, bring the LPO, I will finance it. And then, of course, you get the LPO, you give it to them, they finance it, they get their money because the payment is domiciled to them, and then they release the profit to you. That's the mentality of our banks. But with government schemes, are usually cheaper. How can we run with 20% loan? In 5 years, you will have paid 100% what you borrowed. It's not economically sustainable. Yeah? So there are certain industries that I believe that we can actually leverage as business people. And I've looked at several. One of them is food and beverages. When I was coming to Ibadan, and I said, anywhere I go, whether it's country or state, city, I always enjoy local food. I know Ibadan people are good with amala. So my friend told me, when you get to Ibadan, go to a place called Amala Sky. How many people know Amala Sky? Okay, me, I'm from Lagos, so I know Amala Sky. It's amazing that the place has maintained its name, and the bank itself has changed the name to Polaris. The location is somewhere on that Bodija Road, near the Polaris Bank. So food is something that will continue to sell. Everybody needs to eat. Literally, we all need food to keep on living and be in existence. Some people will even borrow to eat. Some people will beg to eat. So, but then again, it's not all food that will sell. You must make sure you're in the right industry, in the right location, and create a brand for yourself. I talked about Malaskai because whoever owns that business has created a brand for that business. Yeah? So I think food and beverages, drinks, water, whatever kind of drink, will always sell as well. I'm not saying those are the only businesses, and there are so many chains to it. It doesn't even have to be finished food, cooked food. It could be raw materials. I have a friend she used to be my employee myself. She resigned, and she started doing a very interesting business. She opened up a website called Glue, I think it's gloo.com.ng or something like that, where she will take orders of different kind of food material, rice, gari, beans, so whatever it is that you want. She will go to markets and buy them to supply them to you. So she goes to a place called Mile 12 in Lagos, where you have bulk purchase price. So she will take all those orders, and on one particular day or two in a week, she will go and buy everything, apportion them in bags, and deliver to the homes that have ordered from her. Today, she has her own warehouse. So she doesn't need to go to Mile 12 anymore. The people that supply Mile 12 bring them to her own warehouse. Raw material, raw food. So whatever it is in food and beverage, people will always eat. People will always drink. You just need to find your niche, find how you can create that value. So the busy professional people who can't be bothered to go to the market, they will buy from her. So find your niche. Health services and add-on services. One of the biggest things that has happened in this COVID era is testing. Where I live in Lagos, that neighborhood has about 5 different laboratories now that were never there before. And when you go there, you have to queue. People are testing. In Lagos State, they charge us 50,000 naira for each test. I think it's been reduced now to about 45,000 naira. Even at that, 45,000 naira for a test, guess how much those guys are making? And if they're not making money, why are they springing up? So testing alone in the laboratories. But there are other areas of health. There are several other areas: healthy food, health services, intermediary. Some people are they are developing a software now to create a portal for all medical services in Nigeria. So the hospitals will connect, the pharmaceuticals will connect, the laboratories will connect. They will be able to collaborate, share ideas, transfer patients from one hospital to the other electronically. Big idea. That software is taking a while, but when it comes, it will revolutionize the health services in Nigeria. So there are so many things that we can do in health. I see a lot of money in food. I see a lot of money in health and different areas. I see money in education as well. Children are now going into secondary school. It's highly competitive. Everybody wants their child to go to the best school at the least fees, right? Why would I want to send my child to private school to pay millions when it is possible to get that opportunity in government college, Ibadan? But how many people can government college take? It's competition. So we have lesson teachers. I met a lady, I actually met her in December, and then we were talking, and in January, she told me something that I could not imagine. She runs like a beauty, what do they call it? Pedicure, manicure kind of business, small business. She's in her 20s, but she cannot read and write. And that's because of her background. I'm not going to go into that detail now. So, and for me, I'm looking for people to bless. So I engaged with her, went to the store, started talking to her, and encouraged her. I said, you know you can go to school. She said, it's too late. At this age, I said, it's never too late. It's never too late. I analyzed her business with somebody who is not educated. And I told her, if you go to school and get a secondary education only, you can double your income. She said, no, it's not. How is this possible? I said, it's possible. And I broke it down for her that even me, that I'm not in that industry, I can see things that you are doing that you could have otherwise done better. Then she started getting serious about it. On Monday, tomorrow, in a couple of days, she will start a primary education through an institution that I found online. And for me, in the quest of trying to find a solution for her, I had found out that there are online facilities where you can book a teacher that will come to your house. I know we have that in the UK, but I didn't know it existed in Nigeria. And there are a lot of teachers that are registered in that website that will offer such facility. And they will train you from primary all the way to university. Extra teaching. And again, in my interest in that business line, I fortunately got to talk to the owner of that website. And I started engaging with him to find out how do you guys make money? It's unbelievable how much money the guy is making. The charges are very minimal, but the margins very small based on volume. He told me the number of hours that they do every day, every week, every month. And just tell me to multiply by the little margin. That the teachers are collecting a lot of money, it doesn't matter. But his little margin in that volume makes a big difference. What is he doing? He's sitting behind a computer. Okay, Bayo has booked for school. Do it, match them, send it to him by email. And that's it, done. He will sit down. If I book, maybe I book 10 hours, 100 hours. In this case, now this lady is going to pay all the way for however long it will take her. The guy is sitting down making his own margin. The teacher is doing the job. The student is happy. And then he's doing monitoring as well. He said he has mystery shoppers. So some people he will just send to go and do some teaching. For some people he will send teachers to them to go and teach their children at its own cost, just to make sure that the teachers are up to what they claim to be. He does verification, and this guy is making serious money. It's called aggregation. You know, I know somebody who can do something, and I'm making a little bit of margin from being the intermediary. And there's a lot in education. Not only that, even nursery schools, primary school, private ones, they're making money. If you get it right, you have the right people in your school, you get it right, and you make money. I discussed a crash with somebody a couple of years ago. Just crashes, young children, 0 to 2-year-olds, where they can go to when their parents have gone to work. And you know, there's a problem. You have a child, 3 months later, your employer expects you to come back to work. If you are not lucky to have a parent or support, you either resign that job or you start struggling with that child. So we created a business plan to open a creche, and I said, location is important. It was unbelievable what I found out. I gave somebody the responsibility, the business to go and do the research for me. Where do you have a lot of young couples that are concentrated in Lagos? And they came back with results that blew my mind. And the reasons are obvious. Location is good, but affordable. Proximity to certain areas, in Lagos Island, Victoria Island, or even a Kenya, and yet it's still an affordable location. And there are a few of them like that in Lagos. And guess what? That's where we plan to situate that business, in one of those areas. So schools, education rather, is also another way where we can make money. So I just broke down some food and beverages that we can look at later, health services that we can look at later, education, I've said about support services, 11 plus years old, GCSE support, primary education, special need. There are children who have disability. There are children who struggle to learn. They can't mix with natural children. In the UK, there are ways where the children are mixed together and they teach them differently at different levels. In Nigeria, it's a bit of a struggle. So why can't we create such? Child minding. In fact, that's a problem for us in England. When we were bringing up our children, it cost us a lot of money. In fact, after my second child, my wife decided she wasn't going to work for a couple of years until she can comfortably leave her child with somebody. And that's what we did. So child minding is very expensive in England. And I can imagine in Nigeria as well. And we need to begin to think about the dynamics of the future of our country. I don't see a lot of old people's homes in Nigeria because we still have that relationship with our old people. There's always somebody to pay for them, always around them. Well, that's fine, but believe me, that time is coming when the old people need to look after themselves. The same way we can create child-minding facility where people can bring their children to. School runs. I was talking to one of my younger sisters, and she runs a school, a school, I would say, and doing very well, but she's added school runs to it. So she can pick up children from homes, take them to school, or take them to her own facility and take them back as well. And a few other things that she can do with that particular van that she has bought and invested in. School runs. So parents go to work very early, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning in Lagos, because they have a 1-2 hour journey to get to work. School does not start until 9 o'clock, maybe 8 o'clock for some people. Offer to pick their children up, take them to school, pick them up from school, take them back home. Remember, nothing, absolutely nothing is impossible. And like Muhammad Ali said, impossible is nothing. Because with God, all things are possible. So, any other question now? I want to break down dreams. And I'm just going to talk about a few things, and I'll go a little bit into the scriptures as well. Do we have any additional questions? Yes, sir. You have to. Sorry, I didn't hear you properly. I need my water as well. Primary. Farming. Oh, farming. Okay.
Risk management.
Okay.
Connected with that.
Okay. How can we deal with the risk
Yeah.
in business? All right. Thank you. Is there any other question? All right. Actually, risk management is something that I didn't talk about. Oh, okay, sir. Sorry. Sorry. Calculated. Okay. Calculated risk. Still part of risk management. Many people think that business entrepreneurs or business people are risk takers. Only risk takers can get into business. And those who have the right appetite for risk are the only ones that can get into business. And rightly so, because it's easier to just be comfortable, earning your salary, and if you're happy with it, why not? There are people who who never run a business in their life, and they had a very good life, a good career all the way, retired into good income, and they're happy with it, no problem. But in business, when you look at business, you look at risk. And when we talk about, it's not just farming risk that I'll talk about now. When we look at business risk generally, we need to find what we call a mitigating factor to it. So you know that there's a risk of something. Example might be not enough rain in a particular season. How do we mitigate it? Technology has brought irrigation to us. So we take advantage of irrigation. If it's about sales risk, which I have a problem with, the risk I have in selling farm produce outside the country is I don't have control over the selling price. For me, it's a risk. My mitigation is don't do it. Find other markets. So there's always a mitigation for every risk. And that's what is called calculated risk as well. So I know there's a risk. I can do it, but I'll do it differently. Or I find a way to mitigate that risk. And sometimes some risks, you just allow it to happen. Even in non-business projects, there are risks that you will just allow to happen because there's no mitigation. You throw money at it and hope that it does not kill that project or does not kill that business. If you calculate your risk and you know that you are unable to sustain your business with it, then you pull out. Don't do it. And guess why? I've run out. That's why we do forecasting. So look into the future. What am I going to need to do? What am I going to buy? What am I going to pay for? What if, and there are several risks, government risk. I have a friend, and I'm sure you wouldn't mind me sharing this. He had a fantastic farm somewhere in Oyo State here, around Oyo itself. Ifiditi, Fiditi. Big farm, good guy, with a good heart. Came from England, lots of money. He bought the land, invested there. He had so many things, from animal husbandry to farm produce in terms of cash crops and food crops. And one day, some guys came around and made demand of money from him. And he said, why should I pay you? I'm paying my staff. And what they were asking for was ridiculous. Unfortunately, they came around and killed some of his staff. And they promised that they will come back again if he doesn't pay them. Unfortunately, today, he has abandoned that place. He said he could not even contain the heart to see that his staff was being killed because of money. He would rather not do the business. Millions of naira was wasted in that place. That's a risk that you don't have control over. But if you can forecast your risk, let's find a way to mitigate. If we can't mitigate, let's walk away from it. Yeah? Our environment is very peculiar. There's government risk. There are people risk, your staff, customer risk. There is environmental risk. It might be that you even harvest very well. The day you want to get on the road, they block the expressway and you can't go. And you have products that will perish in 24 hours. Need to get to the destination. How do you manage that? So there are so many risks. And when you are doing your forecasting, you put a lot of the known risk into consideration and cost them. In project management, it's called what we call tolerance. You put a tolerance to it. In construction, they call it miscellaneous, the unknown. So put your unknown in your forecast, that assuming everything goes well, then I'll save the money. If this happens, I'll have 20% to fall back into. If it happens like this, I still have my 20% to fall back into. Again, that's part of your operating expenses. And if you don't spend it, it goes into your profits, your bottom line at the end of the year. So risk can be calculated, risk can be mitigated, risk can actually be paid for. Okay. Dreams. Dreams are God-given, and of course, they present themselves by themselves. I'm going to read a few scriptures, so I need to open the Bible. Dreams are your desires or your expectations in life. I talked about that earlier. They're the workings of your ability. They're your passion. Sometimes, have you ever wondered why you desire, I want to buy a new car. I think I need to buy a Toyota Corolla or a Toyota Camry. And the moment you plug that into your mind, guess what? You'll be seeing a lot of Toyota Camry in the road, yeah? And you think, oh, I must buy a Camry that is yellow. And you probably have never noticed that there's a yellow Camry in town. But you start seeing yellow Camry around. Has it ever occurred to you? Oh, okay, so we're together. That's your dream. Because you dream it, it becomes reality to you. It becomes real. It actualizes itself. And then you know that it's possible. It's a brain thing. Until then, you were not looking for it. Your brain never connected to it. And once you now begin to think about it, your brain will connect to it. And I want to also believe that sometimes we sleep, and then what we were thinking in our consciousness will come reality to us in our subconsciousness. And sometimes vice versa. What we dream about, we wake up and begin to think about it. So it's important that we dream, and dream big. Even if you're dreaming big, you can start small, but dream big. Yeah, it's your passion, and it will usually come in different forms. Quickly going to read from Genesis chapter 37, and I'm reading verse 5. Genesis 30, they won't be able to project because I'm hugging that projector. So if you want to write it down or you want to walk with me. Genesis 37 verse 5. Now Joseph had a dream, and when he told his brothers, they hated him the more. So Joseph had a dream. I'm sure you all know that story. His dream was that his brethren would bow down, including his parents, to him. What does that mean? So you must also be able to interpret your dreams. My very first vision of the kind of business I'm running today, I went to a client's office one day when I was still in full-time employment, and I got there very early. When they opened the door to me, I just saw a lot of heads of people in that office, and I was alone. The security guy let me in because I was very early, but I saw people walking, and they all got up to say good morning. So I turned back. I'm thinking, am I dreaming? And I turned around again, and there were nobody there. So I interpreted that to say that I am going to have a business that I will be managing director one day. And thank God that it happened shortly after. So you must be able to understand your dream and be able to interpret it as well. Joseph talked about it. He kept on reminding himself about the dream. He kept on talking to, he even spoke to his brethren. Although they hated him, but he kept his dream in his mind. When he was sold as slave, his dream was in his mind. When he was in Potiphar's house, his dream was in his mind. Otherwise, he could have taken advantage of his master's wife. But he said no. Why would he do that? Because he knew who he was. His dream was before him. God is going to do something. Remember Moses? God gave him a responsibility. That became a dream for him. To the point where he saw an Egyptian fighting an Israelite. And you're fighting a child of God. He killed the person. He was ahead of himself. That was because his dream was pushing him. Let your dream drive you. Let it drive you to the point where you then begin to walk in it majestically. Amen? So while Joseph waited, his brothers obviously sold him. He went into prison. He did everything. But in all, God was with him. I'm sure you all know that story. Hello? Okay. So build your dream and pursue it. Build your dreams and pursue it. Run with it. Be the person that will actualize it. Believe me, if you share your dream with anybody, your pastor, your wife, your husband, your whoever, your mentor, they will only advise you. They will even pray for you. They will counsel you. You must start that journey yourself. You must be the carrier of that dream yourself. Even if Joseph's brethren were with him in Egypt, they will not advise him any better not to take advantage of the environment that he was. Remember when he was in prison and he interpreted the dreams for those people. It was just something he would do normally. He did it, and when the king called them out, what did he do? He begged them, please, so remember me. Oh. He begged them. He knew that something must happen out of this. I need to get out of here because I have a dream. This is not my position. So even in the actualizing of your dream, and it looks seemingly not happening, find a way out of it. Find a way. Pursue it. That's what it means to pursue. Run after it with passion. Because if you don't, then that dream will just go. And believe me, there's somebody else that God has given the same or similar idea to. Okay, so that's my last slide on dreams and actualizing your dream. Just a quick recap from yesterday. We talked about you can start from wherever. You can be whatever level, whatever age, whatever money you can be. You can start your business. You can start with zero. You must have a passion for it. And I shared my personal example. I started from just getting angry that I was poor, unable to feed my family. And I did so many things. And then I started hearing God. I started following direction. And I went to so many training opportunities as well. And one of the things that God did was take me into full-time corporate environments. Spent several years in work environment to learn the trade of running the kind of business that I would love to run. And towards the end of it, I had the vision and landed me in business. That also God helped me to get started. So if you hear God, you will, and you follow his steps, you will definitely be successful. So criteria are passion, God, the voice of God, pursuing your dream and everything that you need to do, and God will bring it to bear. There's so many things in between. So many things in between. How do you employ the right person? How do you find the right product? How do you know the niche where you need to be? How do you identify the location? How do you determine your profitability? How do you determine what product to even carry? So all of those things will come, but the first thing is, what is God saying to you? Where are you at? Some people will not hear God's audible voice, by the way. Some people will just know that this thing is good. I should be able to follow this through. I've spoken to unbelievers who don't believe in God, or maybe they're just nominal Christians, and they have ideas. The differentiator we have is that we have a God that we can go to get nutrients and support from. So build up those ideas, build your empire, do successful businesses, and I trust God, he will give us good favors and bright opportunities in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you very much. Look forward to whatever is next.